Hello, everyone. This is Pedro Baez from Go for Glory Stable. Today is July 6th, 2025. If you like these videos, please like or subscribe on YouTube. And all right, so we're going to go, this is the 3-year-old and older, and we had a lot of action last week. So without further ado, let's kind of jump right into it. And going to, as we always do, is going to be alphabetical order. We're going to there's going to be a few horses we'll highlight for last week, and we'll go through their replays. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Um, we got a lot going on. We're in the heat of the summer, so expect to see a lot more action, as the months progress and the weeks progress. So uh, let's start with Artist Best. Artist Best was off this week. We actually tried to get him in. We tried to race him. He was actually in the box, and we tried to race him with Lauren Harmon, who's Rob Harmon's niece, and she's actually the amateur driver of the year. So she's in Goshen right now, and Rob and Patty, they're in Goshen right now for her ceremony for that award. Charlie got that award 2 years ago. It's a big award, so she knows what she's doing. She's going against the best uh, every week, racing the amateurs in Ohio and wherever she's at. So yeah, we were going to use her, but he didn't get in. But that's all right. So Artist Best will be back in next week for Meadowlands. He should get in based on time alone, um, because we missed a week. So and we're New Jersey, fully New Jersey owned, so we get first preference. So that's the benefit of racing at Meadowlands. So he'll be in, like I said, the box next week. Draw is tomorrow or Tuesday. I gotta check if it's a double draw or not. But Charlie will be back in the bike, and Charlie knows the horse, so we're gonna hope for the best. Uh, Bluebird Time. So Bluebird Time raced once this week. He raced yesterday, which I was trying to get over there, as I mentioned in the summary video, but I couldn't. I literally couldn't get into the Meadowlands because they were closing the entrances. I guess I was in the wrong entrances. Um, and Bluebird Time was good. He tough trip, pulled early. I thought a little bit early at the first quarter to get to the top, and then Jason Bartlett hung him out there, and he was still battling. So he was still battling until the end. He actually bumped wheels with Joe Bongiorno's horse, and actually gave us a flat tire. Uh, but actually, let's just watch that. Actually, let's watch that real quick. Picture's worth 1,000 words. This is a great spot for him, by the way. This Trackmaster 74.5 is perfect. Perfect. So this is Bluebird Time right here in the middle with David Miller, the Buckeye, driving him. 5 hole's really good at Meadowlands. He gets out a little bit, but as we all know, Bluebird is, or Bluey as we all call him, he's a dead closer. So he's not a horse. He's not a horse that's going to fly off the gate ever. So he'll like you see here, he'll get his position and whatnot, but he's a dead closer. That's the kind of horse he is. So there's David Miller doing his thing. Where he's on the backstretch here. Now that horse, that 8 horse, is kind of on the outside already, so I'm sure David felt him. And we're just past the quarter, so we're about the 3/8 pole. And right here, David's making his move. I made it a little bit before the 3/8 pole actually. I thought the move was a little early. I didn't. I thought he probably could have waited until the half to get this move in, but he did it, and the horse was still good. So here we go. We're at the half. We're right toe to toe with Jason Bartlett's horse. Um, Bluebird, he's like a dead closer grinder. Like he doesn't have that acceleration, that quickness. So he won't just shoot up like a million miles an hour and just get in front of the horse. It's just not his game. Like Soho Skyfall does that, but you know, uh, he's a different horse, obviously. Bluebird Time is more of like a power grinder closer type, and here he is. His plugs are pulled. He's still grinding. He's still grinding. He's still fighting. He's still fighting. That's the thing about this horse is that he'll keep trying. He will keep trying until the end. He will keep trying. And David, at this point, it actually looks like we still might have it. But then right here, it's like, we get beat a little bit. But I want to see when he actually hit his tire, though. Let's see here. I don't see it here. Well, we'll take Patty's word for it and Rob's word for it. I don't see it, but he was a good race. He raced hard, good third, and he'll be back in the box next week. So the horse tries every time, so there's nothing we can do about that. Charming Princess, she was raced from the 8 hole at the Meadows, and we picked up Dave Pallone, and Dave actually tried to get off the gate, and he did get off the gate. He was rushing with her to get towards the front or get to the rail in some spot. And then she broke. So we thought um, maybe she might need hobbles or something, but Stacy, felt that she's good, and she's back in the box. So she's back in for Tuesday this week at Scioto Downs, um, and 5 posts, and she's actually 9-2 morning line. So we'll see how she goes. Based on the morning line, she fits pretty well. So we'll see what's next with Charming Princess. She's in on Tuesday at Scioto Downs. Conrad DePoggio, he raced yesterday, and it was actually a tougher race than expected. He left hard from the 3 hole. He left hard to try to get to the front. He couldn't get there, and then we kind of sat there as the third and fourth hole the rest of the way, and then pretty much made a move at the end, but then he broke. So it was just one of those races where Conrad's a really nice horse. He'll have a race like last week where he wins in 55, and you're like, wow, that was, or second, he came in second in 55, and you're like, wow, that was very impressive. And you have race like yesterday where he just doesn't quite he he couldn't get to the front, and then he had to make his move all the way at the end, and then he broke, and it's like, all right, every now and then Conrad breaks. It's just kind of how he is, but he's got power. I mean, you can't teach the horses, these trotters, to go at 55. That is excellent. So if a trotter can go 55 in a 5/8, that's excellent, and they'll make plenty of money. So he's got the power. Um, we just need a little bit of luck, and just had no luck that race. And Mike Merton was kind of battling. We'll get to the Enola race, but Mike Merton was um, um, he did what he can. He did what he can with Conrad. Like I said, there's no fault with him. It was just didn't work out. So anyway, so that's Conrad. Let's move on. He might get next week off. I think he's been racing 3 weeks in a row, 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So we'll see about next week if he's in. Um, he might be in, he might not. But if he's not in, it's just because of scheduled week off. So um, we don't race him too hard. So that's that with Conrad. The next is Drill. Drill, I'm not gonna go through a video just because um, he had a good third, but Drill basically had the 7 poles. He left hard. He actually tucked in like in the 4 hole spot, so that worked out. And but then they slowed that race down to like a 101 and 3 first half. Nothing we can do. I mean, that's almost it's almost like not allowed sometimes if you go too slow in the second quarter. So it was crazy, like a 31 second quarter or something like that. 101 and 3 first half, which is like trotters do that, 2-year-old trotters. So Greg Merton was in the lead, Mike Merton's brother, and he's it's almost impossible to win from coming from behind in those fractions. So Drill went first up from the 4 hole, challenged him all the way, and then he was still game enough to hold on for third. So anytime you get a third on a half-mile track from a 7 hole is a win. So that's keep that in mind. If we're 6, 7, 8 on a half mile and we get top 3, that is excellent because you're just hoping for a check a lot of times. So Drill's good. He should be back in the box tomorrow for Thursday. Same race, same class. He still fits. Yeah, and just hope for a better post. Anola, Anola, we can actually watch Anola's race. She was a 2-5 favorite. and it was just bad luck. Um, it was just bad luck on everyone's side, pretty much. So if we just watch this here, so the one hole at the one post at Tioga is not the greatest. A lot of us are used to half mile racing, where the one post is like the best post ever. On the 5/8 over here, one post isn't that great. It's actually better to be more like 2, 3, 4, 5. Um, but you see here, she gets off the gate, and it looks like she didn't. Maybe it wasn't timed perfectly or so, and the horses on the outside of her got the jump, and she's sitting in the 3 hole here, and so Mike's in a tough spot. Mike Merton, he he knows they're flying. So you'll see in the first quarter marker, it's going to be like 27-1 or something. 27, yeah, 27-1, which is really fast for this level of trotters. So he's like, all right, it's 27-1 first quarter. If he were to retake, I mean, that's going to be a killer first half if he tries to retake, and then she might be done. So he said, okay, I'll just sit here. But then this Tyler Miller comes up with this bomb, this 24-1 shot right here on the outside, and that kind of threw a wrench into the whole thing because now Mike Merton's like, all right, well, I didn't want to go sit behind a 24-1 shot. And then this 3 comes out of nowhere and sits right behind him. So now we're boxed in. You can see Mike was actually trying to figure out a way to get out a little bit, maybe get behind the 3. The three's gapping the 5. So this is just, I don't even, you can't make up how unlucky this kind of trip is. So we're the 2-5 favorite, and it's like every decision, everything that could go wrong is going wrong pretty much here, and uh, she's loaded to the gills with trot. She's loaded to the gills. I mean, she wants to go, but where are you going to go? You can't even go 5 wide if we wanted. So he goes in. He's like, all right, let me just try and go as fast as I can. Maybe these horses will die or something. He'll be able to catch up. But he actually did. He's flying. He's loaded. He tried to get second there, but what are you going to do? That's just one of those races where you just gotta. There's nothing we can do. There's nothing we can do from an owner perspective. We put the horse in the right race. She was 2-5. Nothing we can do in that uh, in that spot. So uh, we can go to Erin. The only thing I want to show you with Erin is she raced at Poconos, which I wasn't thrilled with that racing her at Poconos in this race, but it's just kind of how the whole schedule worked. We didn't get in at. So just so you all know, we tried to put her at Tioga. She's the 5 horse here. We tried to put her at Tioga. She didn't get in, and we tried to get her at Saratoga, but it was like cancellations the week before, so we thought we couldn't get in there. So then Poconos was like the next best option. We didn't want to skip a week, and we thought it might be a decent field, but this field is actually tougher than expected, as usual with Poconos. So there she is, the 5 hole, and she's over here in the back. And Ridge Warren is a driver who is known for being conservative. He's always coming off the pace, like almost all the time. And so she came off the pace. And she actually does have gate speed. If you look at her 2-year-old and 3-year-old career, she was flying off the gate almost every single race. So that's a mystery. Hopefully, we can get solved at some point to get her blasting off the gate more often. But here she is. She's sitting here 6th, and she's just kind of cruising with them um, so far. And it was a good track. Uh, it wasn't a fast track. It was a good track, but it wasn't sloppy, so it wasn't terrible. Then here she is following the 4. Then check this out. She's following the 4. Look, you see that? You see that right there? She almost like broke. She almost like broke. She either took a bad step or she like kind of like broke momentarily, and she was gapping this 4 horse, by 2 lengths. So then she had to use up all this energy to go catch up to the 4 horse. She gets up to the 4 horse, and then at this point we're all like, all right, we actually might be good. She actually did catch up. So then the 4 horse is towing her closer and closer. Closer and closer. We looks like we're in pretty good shape. At this point, I'm like, wow, we actually, we might win this. If she can go three wide or something, and that's what he's doing. He's going three wide. But then this horse on the outside kills us. That horse with Tyler Buter, he crowds her. I mean, we almost locked wheels, and she just, I don't know what it was, but she just, that was it. She kind of was not able to trot full speed, and it was just a rough race. It was just a rough race. I mean, that she probably used up too much energy losing that breaking stride or whatever that was in the backside. But it's just it didn't work out. So her next step is we skipped this week, so she's not in this week. She'll be in the box for Monday next week. So Monday the 14th, she'll be in the box for Saratoga. Saratoga, she's it's a half-mile track. She gets around the half perfectly. So we just gotta hope for a good post. We don't want any 6, 7, 8 posts. Let's hope for good inside posts, and then she should do fine over there. Um, so let's move on. So with that being said, that's Aaron. The next horse is Just Rose's Luck. Just Rose's Luck. The big thing with her is she is ready to qualify. So she trained great this week. She is trained super last week too. So we just gave her this week extra just to make sure everything's good with that cut that she had. Trained great again. So she'll be qualifying next week. And then, if all goes well, hopefully racing the week after. So she's ready to roll. She's in the claiming club for anyone wondering who Just Rose's Luck is. She's the Yonkers claiming club horse. Um, Next horse is going to Vegas. The only thing to note, we're going to Vegas is her knee is still big. She really banged that knee really good in that race that she had a month ago at Tioga. So her knee is still swollen. So Paul's still working on that. She's jogging, but she's been jogging this whole time. But Paul hasn't trained her yet. He wants that knee to come down more. So that's fine. We still got a lot of racing left for her. So we're just gonna wait until that subsides. Moneyman, Moneyman was excellent as usual. He's we can probably go. We'll go through his race. Let's just show his race. He was a good horse. He Paul put him in this at Saratoga just to get a race in, just keeping him fresh, keeping him strong. Like I said, we don't want to over race him. His big races are uh, in September and October. So everything between now and then is just basically keeping him sharp, keeping him strong, just to make sure he's good for when we get there. So here's Jay Randall, and this right here, we're right here. We're the five horse. This, Paul was not happy. Paul was not happy. We were 3 to 5. So when you're 3 to 5, you gotta get off the gate. Like you gotta get off the gate and try to get towards the front. To be 3 to 5 and to be sitting in the six hole, gapped out, where you're 10, 10 lengths behind the leader, that's just that's just a recipe for disaster. So I think so as you can tell, Jacob Cutting on the lead, he he realized he's like, holy moly, I got the lead for myself. This 3 to 5 shot is nowhere in sight. So what does he do? He does what Greg Merton did in that drill race, and he starts slowing this race down to a crawl. So he's slowing the race down to a crawl on the lead. There's Moneyman pulling first over at the quarter pole, and this is a long, long first over. I mean, first over from 10, 15 length, from 10 lengths back, got to be 10 lengths back. 59 and 1, so 30 in 1 second quarter, so he's just cruising. Yeah, Jay's got Moneyman motoring right here, and at this point, I'm like, oh, maybe we'll get past this one, but 59 and 1, that's such a slow first half that that one has plenty more in the tank. So Jay's rolling here. I give Moneyman a lot of credit to be so far back and still be in this race. He definitely is a class of the field. He deserved to be 3 to 5. And then here I'm like, all right, we might actually win this race. But now we're starting to get to in front of this one, and I'm like, okay, I think we got this. And we actually looked like we're so right at this point it looks like we're gonna win this. And then all of a sudden the one starts coming back a little bit, and then check this out. Look at this. Doesn't this look like Moneyman won? I mean, oh, sorry. I mean, I don't know how how any sort of camera can say Moneyman didn't win this race, but they said he lost. He lost by a nose, um, and we got second. So that was Moneyman. The only reason I showed that was to show that horrible, horrible loss, the miss that we had. But he was good. So he'll be back in the box for next week. He's not racing this week. Back in the box for next week. Um, Muscle Bart raced this week. It was his first race back after his sickness, and he was okay. He flattened out in the end. He came in sixth, didn't really make a move. So his next race will be at Harris, Philadelphia, most likely in the 20,000 claimer. Um, Aaron Lambert just feels he'll be better on that track, and it's easier field too. So that's next step for him. Chip's Revenge. She made her debut for us with the 8 hole. She came in sixth, so she beat a couple of horses, but 8 hole is just, I mean, you can't. It's really not much you can do from there. We just took a trip around the track. Her first race with us from being shipped from Indiana. She's in the box again for Tuesday, but of course we get the 7 hole. So I think it's going to be probably more of the same, where we're just going to be trying to get a check. That's fine. You know, it's a long season. She fits well. We don't want to go too crazy with her from the 7 and 8 pole right now. Let's just kind of see what we have, and then hopefully we get a better post soon. The 7 and 8's got to stop. But she's nice. She's healthy. She's sound. She gets around the half perfectly. She showed that she got around the half perfectly. She finished strong at the end, which is the most important thing. And we know she has that killer gate speed. We're just gonna figure out when to use it. So, good horse. We'll see what's next. We'll see how it goes on Tuesday. Skybox. I'm not going to go through his race. He had a good third at Plain Ridge, in the big for 17,600. The horse he lost to was a open Plain Ridge trotter, like a perennial open Plain Ridge trotter. So no fault to lose to that horse at all. He lost to another horse who just kind of beat him out on the drive from a driving perspective, which is fine. It happens. Um, Drew Campbell's perfect with the horse. Skybox just Paul's working on his left front foot a little bit this week, so that's why he didn't put him in for this week. But he should be, assuming all goes well, should be in the box for next week, for Monday, back at Plain Ridge. He fits really well over there, so that's a great place for him. Uh, Soho Skyfall. So let's just do Soho Skyfall. He is the star of the barn right now, um, at least from a pacing standpoint. And this race, he was making his debut in the next level. So he was in non-winner 75 or 7,000 for a while. Now he's in non-winners 9,500. Um, and this level is right below the Open at Saratoga. So here he is with Jay Randall. They had a scratch. So he's in the 3 hole, but he's a 4 horse. And you see how he has the gate speed. If Jay Randall wanted, like we could have flown out of there and tried to get to the lead. But why not? We protected our post position. We were sitting here third, and we were in a great spot. So I mean, there's no need to keep pushing to try to get to the lead at this point. 27-2 first quarter, which is very fast. Like I said, if we were pushing for the lead, it probably would have been like a 26-4, 26-3 first quarter, which like you don't have to do that. So here we go. The 5 starts going early. The 5 went first over early, so he actually pushed us out to make an early move. And this actually worked out amazing. This is what I'm talking about. You see that big move, that big sprint that Soho Skyfall has? This first half went in 56-2, so 29 second quarter, and he probably went 28. He just bursted right in front of that 3. That's where, like, when we're talking about Bluebird, he didn't have that burst to get in front of the horse. Jay Randall has that burst. Soho Skyfall has that burst to just fly up and get right in front. And then there he is. He's in the front, and he's just holding them off. That 5 and 6, those are open. Those are open pacers. The 5 and 6, and this is a 27-4 third quarter, which is very strong. And look at Jay. He's just holding them. Jay's like a statue in there. He's just holding them, going around that turn. Soho's perfect around those turns. You can't, I mean, you for a horse to get around turns like that, that's perfect. So he's no issue. Jay's just kind of reminding him to keep going. Boom, big win. 52 and 3. 52 and 3 is, and he did a 56 and 2 first half, 56 and 1 back half. So that was some kind of race. So that was a coming out party for Soho Skyfall. He is legit. He is 52 and 3. What that means is he can compete in the Open at Saratoga every week if we wanted. We actually still fit this level for a while, so we're gonna keep racing him here where we can get the money. But that proved yesterday proved that he can race in Saratoga Open open pace on a regular basis if we want, and he can also compete pretty much anywhere else. He can compete at Yonkers, Poconos, Plain Ridge, Tioga, uh, Meadowlands. That 52 and 3 on a half is eye popping. So he is that what he has gone to the next level. He has passed the test and he has graduated to the next level. He's proven to be a higher upper level upper level pacer. So everyone's happy with Soho. There's only a couple shares left. I think 6 shares left on the website. So he's obviously everyone saw that. So he's starting to get people trying to get in before he runs out. So um, I don't blame them. So he's a nice horse, and should be in the box for next week, Saturday. All right, Two Pistol Annie. The only thing to note with Two Pistol Annie is she qualified. She trained really great this week. She should be in to qualify next week, and then her plan is we're going to try and do a little Saratoga action with her instead of Yonkers. Racing is a lot easier there, and plus at Yonkers she's just kind of mentally going a little crazy for whatever reason. Who knows? So just going to do a little change of scenery. She fits really low at Saratoga. The horses are way inferior to Yonkers, so and the purses aren't really that much worse. It's still like 10 or 11 grand for the non-winners five, versus like 14 grand at Yonkers. So it's not that different, to be honest. Somehow I don't know how, but uh, that's going to be the next step, and she really should do well there. She should do well if she is what she is. If she's the horse that we saw those first couple of months when we claimed her in those last couple of races before she went crazy recently at Yonkers, she should be an open pacer at Saratoga. There's no doubt about it. She is no doubt about it. An open Philly and Mare open pacer at Saratoga. We just gotta get her back on track, get her rolling, and get her there. So she'll get there. We just gotta keep her healthy and keep doing our thing. So anyway, that's the update for the 3-year-olds and older. And good luck to everyone with this week with your horses. Thank you.